The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, residents of Easton, this is Bill Ames, the co-host of The Film Connection, now celebrating 23 years of information, wonderful guests, and fascinating tech. Just think how the tech has changed 23 years, so we've got plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
Film Connection started in 2001, I believe, and was part of the Hockomock Film Festival and the Hockomock Film Club. Three of them. And they both still go to this day, I'm proud to say.
And as our guest, we have Gino Del Guercio and his charming and lovely wife, Carolyn. And explain Gino's participation in those early years.
Gino was sort of our coach, and then he came on board to actively help us. His son, Ben, who we were just talking about, won the category for Best Drama called The French and Indian War.
Oh, yes.
Totally on his own, no help from his father. Mm-hmm. He was very good. It was he had these cute New Balance sneakers, right? So he was clearly on his way to a career like his dad.
Well, I have been advised by my co-host that I should send Ben an email inviting him to participate in the Film Connection.
Which he has,
sure.
Which he has done numerous times.
Yes, but we thought we would feature that film that he did on the
French and Indian War.
French and Indian War, yes.
We have to find
and you can contrast it with one of his latest ones, which would be interesting.
The automobile one, yeah. But it'll be cute. Everybody get a good laugh.
And the nice thing is, because he's going to show us how he has matured over the years and improved, and point out, what he thinks he's done so much better, which he has.
Well, I'm not sure he's matured. Has he matured?
Yeah, I was waiting for that one.
Well, now that he's in his 30s, he definitely is getting there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so today we're not going to be talking about film particularly. Gino and Carolyn have been on quite a fascinating trip. Mm-hmm. Started out in the Bahamas, I do believe, and just to give you the highlight before we get into the details, went to the Azores, right? And then Spain.
Or Bahamas first. Bermuda, rather.
Bermuda first, I'm sorry, then Azores. So describe the backstory of this wonderful adventure you're on in terms of you're living the dream, but how did you this is something you obviously had sailing for many, many years, so you had the skill sets, but this is something you'd thought about for a long time, obviously, before you decided to go on.
Yeah. Well, when Carol and I both retired in the same year in 2017, we decided that we wanted to sell everything and buy a sailboat and take off. So that's what we did, and we had a 44-foot monohull called Andiamo, which we loved, and we sailed on that for 6 years, mm-hmm. Right?
6 to 7, yeah.
And then we decided that we wanted something a little bit bigger and more luxurious. Oh, look, there's the seal again. No,
Seal
sorry,
popping off offshore.
Anyway. Yeah, there's a seal swimming around.
Living the dream.
Anyway, so we bought this catamaran, and we had sailed up and down the coast into the Caribbean and the Bahamas a few times, and so we just decided we had enough experience that we were going to try to cross an ocean. So that's what we did in June, right? June.
Yep. Well, we left in May from Miami, Florida,
because we had spent the winter in Florida,
and then we went from there to Bermuda.
Wow.
And then Bermuda to the Azores, and then Azores to Ireland, and we're currently in Scotland.
Yeah. So we went up the coast the east coast of Ireland, and that took 3 weeks.
Well, how did the crossing of the Gulf Stream go? Is that pretty choppy? The Gulf Stream?
No, that wasn't bad at all. We chose a nice calm day, left Miami and crossed to the Bahamas, and then did a quick little scoot through the Bahamas, and then headed north from there. So as you say, the Gulf Stream can get pretty vicious at times, but it's usually when the north winds oppose the south, the north winds coming from the north oppose the winds that are coming from the south.
Yeah.
And so we just chose a day that it wasn't doing that, and it was calm and easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we got lucky. And then actually the trip from Miami to Bermuda was mostly motoring. We didn't get that much sailing in.
Mm-hmm.
So
We had very fair conditions,
Light
a lot of sun. It was nice.
So no wind, i.e.
you're right, not very much.
Yeah.
And then we spent 2 or 3 weeks in
About two and
Bermuda.
a half weeks waiting for everybody to arrive because we were a part of a rally with an organization called the Salty Dogs. And there were a total of 10 boats, including us, and they all came from various destinations. And we all met in Bermuda.
Yep.
And then we waited for a good weather window because we also had a weather router, as well as each boat also making their own decisions about when was the best time to leave. So, but we had a great time in Bermuda.
Yeah, that's the second time we've been to Bermuda with the boat, and it's just a lovely place to be. And we know some Bermudian people now, and we visited with them,
So,
and
so
it was great.
Did you go to the Swizzle Inn?
Yeah, I did. Gino and I had been there the last time we were there, but I went back with our crew member Whitney,
Yeah.
she came with us from Miami. Great place. I love the Switzerland.
All those business cards still in there? Don't they have business?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and all the dollar bills tacked up to the ceiling
Yeah. Yeah. What's
How come I didn't get to go to the Switzerland?
because it was a girls' day out.
How about the 40 Thieves? Did you go to that? Isn't there a restaurant in Bermuda called the 40 Thieves?
Not that I've been to. I think maybe.
We got to go to Bermuda Independence Day,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
which
Yep.
they really do up, and they have this fantastic parade that lasts all day. And everybody scouts out their positions on the side of the road like a week beforehand and locks down their chairs.
Yep. Sets up tents and barbecues
Wow.
and it's called Independence Day, but I think it's also called Bermuda Day, but it's
Yeah.
after the concept of Bermuda shorts. And so, because it's supposed to be the first day that everybody gets their shorts out and wears their shorts, so that everybody was in their summer wear.
Well, you know, Easton had its parade also. What was it, 2 weeks
Right.
ago?
Yeah, July 12th, a Saturday, we had a parade that lasted almost 2 hours. Longest parade I think Easton's ever had. Celebrating, we're having our tricentennial year, so
Yeah.
almost every month we have an event.
Yeah, it's quite something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A flyover by the state police, which turned out to be one helicopter. So
Right. I know.
But that's
We're the jet-
okay. It
we're the
sounds like
Jets. We
fun.
wanted the Jets.
I know. I was so disappointed.
So
Yeah.
that was fun. So Bermuda's the home of a lot of insurance companies. I know that
Yes.
because it's
Yeah.
all offshore. So what's downtown Bermuda like? I'm sure they don't have skyscrapers or anything, do they?
They do have a few skyscrapers. It's actually, Bermuda is the size of Martha's Vineyard, but it's got
Yeah.
a moderate sized city with skyscrapers.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them, they're not super tall, but
Yeah.
they're very big buildings. They have a main, I think it's,
I think some are 10 stories.
oh, maybe. And they have like a main street that's right on the water, and Gosling's, Beer is very, rum was very popular, and they
Yeah.
have, all their Bermudian kind of tourist
Yeah.
places. They do have cruise ships that come in there.
Oh, the family that owns Gosling came and gave us a lecture about the
Yep.
history and how they make the rum and
And
everything. It was very interesting.
yeah, and it is still made on Bermuda, but I think most of that stays on Bermuda, and they do have another off-island location. But that was really fun. That was a good time. We had like a lot of activities that were put on by the Salty Dogs.
Yeah.
Um, some local dancing. What was the name of the dancing?
Oh, the dances are cool.
Yeah, it was very old, authentic Bermudian dancing that involved very colorful costumes. They were all men, no women are allowed, and all the way from young boys, maybe 4 or 5, and they had instruments and
Very loud drums.
yeah, with feathered, colorful costumes. So that was really fun.
So, what about the Bermuda Triangle? I mean, you went right through that. You didn't see any UFOs or what was the name of that boat? The Marianne Celeste. You didn't see that floating around?
No, this time it was uneventful, but the last time we went through the Bermuda Triangle, we were struck by lightning.
That was on Andiamo.
Oh wow! So tell us about that. What happened? I mean, did the whole
Yeah,
top?
so
Go ahead.
we were on also a Salty Dog rally from Norfolk, Virginia to Antigua in 2019. And when we got to the triangle, we were like dead center in the triangle. And one night I was asleep. First mate was steering, and baboom.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
right?
there were squalls, and they were on the radar, and I was going in between the two squalls, and then the squalls merged, and then we were in the middle of a lot of thunder and lightning, and but it wasn't anything that was really dramatic at the time. It was a strange kind
It
of,
was loud.
it was loud, but then there was this hum afterwards, and we think the hum was the fallout from the electricity.
Right.
And
We don't think it was a direct hit, but a magnetic pulse,
Wow.
which occurs when you're near a lightning bolt, and it took out all our electronics.
I mean, really, anything that had any kind of a computer chip in it was down. So
Wow.
that's the reason why we diverted to Bermuda, which was 100 miles away, but we didn't have our autopilot, so we had to hand steer. And there were other things that we lost, but we made it.
How did you navigate without all these electronics? You had to look at the stars and
Luckily not. We'd still be there. No, we know whenever there's a thunderstorm in the area, we put some of our electronics in the stove because it serves as a Faraday cage and protects the electronics from lightning. So we still had phones and a laptop that we used for navigation.
Yeah.
oh wow, wow.
So tell me, how did you learn all this? I mean, I know you learned it years ago, but I mean, the technology has increased every year. So did you go to school, have classes for how to use the technology to navigate where you were going to go?
No, you build up over time. And whenever you get together with other cruisers, you're talking about, well, we laugh. Everybody, whenever you get together with other cruisers, all we do is talk about the toilets.
How to fix them. Very
Toilets
important.
are always an issue.
No, but anyway, going back to the electronics, Gino does a lot of research. He does a lot of reading, and some of the stuff is really complicated, and you just have to put time into it. And then things do change. So like we have Starlink on board right now,
Which is the new satellite system.
and we have an amazing thing called Predict Wind, which helps to do weather forecasting for us. But all of those things it's like any computer program. You have to spend time and learn how to do it.
Wow.
And Gino he likes it, but he spends a lot of time putting that effort in.
Wow.
I tell you, cruising in the last 30 years has gotten so much easier. When we first started renting sailboats and cruising for a week or two, and they didn't even have GPS or anything.
Yeah, this was back in the 80s when we were just before we got married, but we were
Yeah.
like in our 20s.
I swear I was lost 3/4 of the time, especially Maine. Maine was the worst, because the fog rolls in. You have no clue of where you are.
Yeah,
And you're
and
just
you're
drifting out there.
you're using paper charts and you're listening for buoys and the fog comes in and you need to know what was the last buoy that you were at and what your course was to be able to figure out how to get to the next one.
And
So,
now we know where we are within 10 feet with
yeah.
GPS. And with the Starlink, we're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and our internet is probably faster than you have at home.
Wow. Wow.
Wow. And
So we can Zoom call, we can communicate with our kids and our grandkids and keep in touch and download all the latest weather forecasts. It's gotten a lot safer.
Well, tell us about the Salty Dogs. I want to check out their website. I mean, what do they do? I mean, how do they do what they do?
The Salty Dogs is a cool organization. It just started, I think, 30 years ago with a one or two couples that got together and they said, we like cruising and we like sharing information. Let's start this little organization. And now it's grown to 2,000 people or more.
Oh yeah, and they do rallies, which is essentially groups of boats that sail together from one spot to another. And they have rallies that go up and down the East Coast. They have them to the Bahamas, to the Caribbean, and now this one to
The Azores.
to the Azores was the first year that they did that.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that they'll continue
We were
to
an
do that.
experiment.
Yeah, we
We
were
were the guinea pigs.
we were the first group.
And Bill, you might be interested. You can go on there and they have people looking for crew. So if you're ever interested in doing a cruise, go on there and
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Well, so but these group rallies, sort of safety in numbers type thing too, right? For people going across the ocean.
yes. Yeah, it's not that the boats, all the boats are different speeds, so they kind of spread out over time. So you rarely see another boat visually, but we can generally see them on electronics. We know, oh, this boat's 50 miles to our east, or this boat's 100 miles to our west, or whatever. And so if we were to get in trouble, one of them might come to our rescue.
Like when we were struck by lightning, we were able to radio to another boat that was close to us, and then they relayed that to the Salty Dogs on shore, and then they contacted Bermuda. It's called Bermuda Radio, which is their form of Coast Guard. So they were expecting us to come in. They were looking for us coming in. So
Wow.
it's really nice. It's a nice group.
And also they provide instruction. You meet up a week before the rally is set to go, and they do boat inspections, safety inspections. They have lectures about life rafts and fishing or whatever. So you get a lot of instruction. They do a lot of hand holding for people who have never done it before.
Oh, that's
And
pretty-
they charge, but the charges are
They're really,
quite
yeah,
reasonable.
very reasonable.
And then they have a professional weather forecaster who follows the entire fleet and sends out messages to all the boats, depending on where you are, and letting you know what kind of weather's coming up and what direction you should take to avoid any serious weather.
now, Gino, and Carolyn, you're on the west coast of Scotland, right?
No, yeah, we're on the west coast of Scotland. Yeah.
Okay. So what is your next destination?
So we actually are going, there's a thing in Edinburgh called the Fringe Festival, which happens every August. And so we've got tickets to that.
And that's going to be like in mid-August.
Well, that's in like 10 days.
Yeah.
So we're going to, and that's, there's a town near here called Largs, Largs, with a train stop that runs to Edinburgh. So we're going to sail around this area for a week and then leave the boat at the marina and take the train up to Edinburgh for 3 days and go to the festival and hang out there.
What
Yeah,
kind of?
everybody talks about this festival. It's kind of well known, and it's basically a lot of street performers, but very, very good musicians, comedians, circus acts,
We've had a lot of
all kinds
people
of.
say, "Oh, if you're in Scotland in August, you have to go to this. This is a must see."
And it's literally the entire month. And then it's also in combination with the Edinburgh um, Music Festival, which has more traditional, like we got tickets to the London um,
Philharmonics.
yeah, Philharmonics with,
They're
I
doing it.
think, Puccini. They're doing an opera. So that we're going to do that one night. So this, yeah.
What?
And
Yeah.
then after that, I found out from my sister that a distant relative of ours um, owned a Scottish island called Egg. And apparently he wasn't the best landlord in the world, and people were mad at him. So they actually bought him out.
Yeah, it was in the 1970s that they bought him out.
Yeah. And now they run it as kind of this commune.
Well, it's like a cooperative community where they have solar and wind power. There was no electricity on this island when it was owned by this one man.
It was too cheap to put in power.
And so they were way back in
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the old days. So that's going to be really interesting.
So we're
But
going back to take back the island.
well, we're certainly not going to mention that we have any relationship whatsoever to this man because we'll probably be kicked off the island.
Well, isn't that where they used to have some big time commune? Esselen, isn't that over there in Scotland or
I think so,
60s?
but not the Isle of Egg.
Not that island. No, no.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, that Edinburgh, I envy you going to that Edinburgh Music Festival. That's very famous.
Well, come and visit us.
Yeah, we have two
We've got an extra cabin.
very nice sized cabins on this boat. Actually, our cabin and our guest cabin are exactly the same size. They both
Wow.
have queen beds, and you have your own bathroom.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, tell us.
Yeah, so that's a big part of the reason why we
We're
bought
not
this
roughing
boat.
it.
Yeah,
Well-
is that we're very I mean, for us this is when you go from a monohull to a catamaran, it just seems so much bigger because it's much wider.
Wider.
Yep.
By today's standards, is actually a pretty small catamaran. We're
Yeah.
41 feet,
Yep.
and most of them are 45. We've seen 50s and 60s even, which are like the size of a house.
Well, can you rotate your laptop and give us a little view of what's in
Oh,
it?
sure. Yeah, we
Right.
can actually go outside. It's super windy today. Today was actually a named storm here in Scotland.
Wow.
Carolyn's going to give you a tour.
Oh, okay. All right.
Nice.
Well, let's see. I'm just going around the table here. This area all around is what we call our main salon. And as you can see, what we really loved about this boat is it has a lot of windows, which translates into a lot of light and also a lot of ventilation. We don't have air conditioning on our boat. We didn't want the complexity, and we just would rather have fresh air. So that was a big deal. We do have very nice heat, which is especially good up here in Scotland. And then this is another thing. This is the trifold door that's in front here. And so it opens up,
Oh, wow.
and you can see out.
Get that. Would you try it again?
And so you have a lot of space. This door actually folds together,
It is good.
and it's brought up to the ceiling up in the cockpit. So you actually have a complete opening between your living space and your outdoor space. It makes it seem so much bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get a little bit of a view of Scotland out here if you want it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Very, very
Oh.
windy day here today.
Look at
This
that.
is the marina.
How about that, Priscilla?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Live.
Just a little town here.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. So this required a lot of planning because you had to figure out where the marinas were that, along your way, right?
It did take a lot of planning, but we also generally take it day by day. So, for instance, just before we got on this call, Karen and I were looking at the charts and trying to decide, oh, where are we going to go on? Well, tomorrow's going to be windy. We're going to go for a whiskey tour. This town had more whiskey distilleries than any other town in all of Scotland.
Yep.
Back
It
in,
had about 30. Um,
it's a tiny little town.
it's very, very small. And then once the railroad went in
Like a
to
big-
northern, to northern Scotland, that's that whole area now is where most of the whiskey making is. And but they do have 3 distilleries here. And one of them is supposed to be very good. I can't recall the name, but the quality of their whiskey is supposed to be very good. I'm not a whiskey person, but I like good whiskey. I'll drink a little bit of good whiskey.
Although we asked the bartender when we had lunch the other day what his favorite whiskey was, and he said Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniels and Johnny Walker. And we were
No.
Boy,
those are popular in the States. And he was like, well, that's what I like. So it's kind of funny, you know?
yeah, he's right. So that's interesting. So have you run into any oil rigs off the coast of Scotland? Any big oil rigs drilling oil?
No,
North Sea?
no, not at all. But we've seen a lot of windmills. They're really into wind power here.
Wow.
I was so impressed with Ireland. When we went to Dublin, their transportation in the city involved all pretty much electric double-decker buses, electric trains, and then maybe some taxis, very few personal vehicles. So you're in this big city and you never really encounter a traffic jam.
Wow.
So that was pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
they've really gotten on the renewable bandwagon here.
Right.
Well, you got all that oil out there in the North Sea, though. I mean, well, I guess that all goes to Scandinavia. I
Yes,
think that's
Norway.
Norway.
Yeah.
Volvo owns a lot of it too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the North Sea is pretty far from us. That's way up on the other side of Scotland.
Well,
But
there's
it-
also a platform out there that's declared itself a separate nation. Have you heard about that?
Haven't heard that.
I read about it in Wired magazine. It's sort of this guy's a real sort of whack job.
But I wanted to mention that Norway, although it benefits from all the income from the oil rigs, most of the country drives electric vehicles.
Yeah.
And they have set a deadline, I think 2030, that there'll be no oil, gas-driven cars in Norway.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
And Sweden, of course, the same. Denmark, Finland, they're all the same. They're also environmentally conscious. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Bill.
Well, it's all hydroelectric power too, right? Because
Right.
of those big waterfalls and everything, and
Yeah.
so that's very no fossil fuels. In other words, that's the problem, right? You drive a correct car, but it's being powered by fossil fuel
Right.
still. Just
Yeah, everything here is smaller. Like the cars are smaller. We're just
Houses.
the houses are smaller. Everything is much more compact and requires less fuel. And the fuel is very expensive here. When we filled up completely the last time, we were astonished. I mean, probably it would be a gallon would be around
$7,
$6.50 to $7 for a gallon of fuel here.
Well, when
Wow.
I was in Sweden visiting family last summer, luckily I have a cousin who owns a car rental agency. And so I had a what they call medium-sized car, which we would call a small car, and $7.50 a gallon in Sweden
Yeah.
last year for
Yep.
gas. Yeah, but that with small cars, it lasts so long. I mean, I didn't have to fill up that much. It was
Right.
amazing. But you've got a huge
Right.
big boat, and that requires a lot of fuel.
Well, no, we have a sailboat. So when we sailed 1,900 miles from Bermuda to the Azores, and we used less than 10 gallons of fuel.
Wow, of course. I forgot.
We had amazing weather and we had great conditions. But that just shows you what you can do with a sailboat. And we also have a lot of solar energy on our boat. We have 4 very large panels So we can be pretty self-sufficient. We don't need, like a lot of boats need to plug in at docks, or they have generators that they run
Uh-huh.
for their energy, but we don't have a
We even
generator.
make our own fresh water.
Yeah, yeah, and we have a desalinator, so we can make our own water. We can make up to 40 gallons an hour of water from the ocean. So we're very off the grid. We can be, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So I've been to Azores, and I went to San Miguel, right? That's the main island there.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that where you parked, so to speak, in the San Miguel?
No, our first stop was Fayal
Yeah.
Oh
with
yeah.
the city of Horta, but we eventually made it to San Miguel.
Yeah, we went to,
Five
I think,
islands,
five different islands. We didn't make it to every island in the Azores, but we absolutely loved the Azores. I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's really been one of our favorite sailing
And
experiences.
so inexpensive. A nice bottle of wine was $3.
Well,
Yeah.
well, the
I
amazing story of the Azores, there it is, parked in the middle of the North Atlantic, and it works. You know, they have a functioning everything. And the Fayal, we never went to Fayal when we were there, but I wish we had, because that's where that was the center of the whaling industry.
Yep.
There's a lot of history there. I'd love to have seen that.
Well, you know, the Whaling Museum in New Bedford has a wonderful exhibit on the Azores.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
Yeah, and yeah, when I have my relatives from Sweden visiting, that's one of the, you know, because the Swedes and the Norwegians are all seafaring people, right? So they love the ocean, they love boats and so forth. So I always take them there, and they love it. Yeah, but they do have a whole section on the Azores, and
Well,
of
they
course,
should.
of course, in New Bedford and Taunton, there are a lot of descendants from those Azore
Yeah.
sailors. So, in fact, one of my relatives married one of them named Alves. You know, that's a pretty common
Yeah.
Portuguese name, and I think they were from the Azores originally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the Azores are all volcanic and recent volcanic. Like in Fayal, there's a section of the island that formed in 1958.
Yeah, it's a super interesting place because we went there. There's a lighthouse there that actually was partially submerged in the lava. And they've made the area into a museum, but you can go up to the lighthouse and see how far up the
Yeah, the first two
the lava
stories are
came.
covered by pumice, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Azores just have so much to offer. I mean,
Yeah, I was wowed by it. And all that volcanic, but what do they call it, basalt?
Yep.
And they've sort of figured out a way to put the gardens in the middle of the basalt, and
Yep.
you know, it just goes on and on.
And lovely people, very, very friendly, and they'll do anything for you. The last day we were there, we were about to leave, and there was a fishing boat that came in, like
like a charter.
yeah, a charter. They take people out fishing. They're not commercial fishing in the sense that they drag, so they take people out. And we saw this other couple talking to them, and they were giving them a piece of fish. So I went up to him and I said, can we buy a piece of fish? And he says, no, you can't buy a piece of fish. I said, I'll give you a piece of fish. So he gave me this chunk of tuna that was about 5 pounds straight off the boat. And we've been eating it ever since.
Yeah, we had it.
It is the best tuna I've ever had.
We did our what is it? The
Vacuum.
The vacuum, and we set it all up in our freezer, and we're still eating it, and it was the most unbelievable fish. So yeah, people are very, very generous. And the same thing in Ireland. I mean, the people are so friendly.
Yeah.
And the Azorians love the Americans because in 1958, when the volcano went off, John F. Kennedy, was it John or
No,
Ted?
it was John. It was John Kennedy.
Told the Azorian people that you can come to the United States. So he opened immigration to the Azorians, and a lot of Azorians came to the United States because of that terrible
Yeah,
volcano.
because so many had been displaced.
Yeah.
Well,
So it came-
they still have United States troops stationed there at that Did you see the airport on San Miguel? It's a
That actually is closed,
yeah.
but nobody mentioned it. But when we sent the bombers across to bomb Iran,
They
human,
refueled.
the bombers refueled in the Azores.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
because that's what they said. There was enough for it's sort of a refueling station,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but they
Mhm.
like to keep it as sort of a foreign aid thing too, because they employ Azorians.
now,
Yeah.
I have a question for Gino. Formerly in your working life, you were a documentary filmmaker for WHDH, no,
GBH.
W
GBH.
Channel 2.
GBH, yes, GBH in Boston. And in your travels, do you see an opportunity? Do you see something that would make a great documentary? Now, when you're describing your experiences in the Azores, I mean, the fish that you were given, the friendliness and generosity of the people. I mean, all of that. Does that make you think of a documentary that hasn't been filmed yet?
No, I'm retired.
Gino's
Oh no,
loving this.
I don't mean that you would
Oh,
do
not
it,
me.
but that you would recommend it as a
Oh,
possible documentary. And in all your travels, if there are any places that would qualify for an interesting documentary, please tell us about them.
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, there's lots of things that you could do. I suppose the thing that, well, my feeling is that Americans really don't understand the ocean very much at all and don't appreciate the ocean. In New England, we have a bit more of that because we have so much coastline. But so many people don't realize that until the 1850s or so, America was a seafaring country.
Mm.
To go anywhere, you had to go by boat. All the freight and traffic and everything was brought up and down the east coast of the United States in ships. And it was all a sailing community, and a lot of the nomenclature and a lot of the expressions that we have are all sailing expressions. So I'd love to see more documentaries about the ocean and about stories of the ocean and what happened and why it's so important. And it's also, it feeds the world. It's like without the um, more than 60% of the oxygen, people think that oxygen is created by the rainforests, and it is to some extent, but 60% of the oxygen in the world is created by the ocean, by the plankton in the ocean.
Wow, how about that, Priscilla?
Wow,
Did you know
yeah.
that?
No, I didn't know that. So we have to
That's
protect it,
amazing.
and yeah, and
We
So much,
absolutely have to protect it.
so much for the rainforest. Cross that
Yeah.
off.
no, no, it's all important, Bill. You
Well,
know
so
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
Yeah. So, so you now, did you say where you're headed for next? I mean, after Edinburgh, what's the next country that you hope to see and visit?
So I think we're going to go back to Ireland.
We're going to stop at Isle of Man when we leave Scotland, and then we'll head. And there were some
Oh, and we wanted to go to Belfast because we haven't
Oh
been to
yes,
Belfast.
we were going to go to Belfast, but this blow was coming through, so we had to leave a day early. But we really want to go to Belfast because it's just very interesting to go there. There's a lot of history about, as the locals call it, the Troubles.
Oh, by the way,
Mm.
this is the Film Connection, so we will do a little film plug for
Oh
the Film
yes.
Connection. We saw a great movie the other day that's not very well known. It's recent,
Yep.
and it's about the Troubles, and it's called Belfast.
Yep. I don't know if you've
Highly
heard of it.
recommend it.
Amazing film, and
Net-
it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, and it's the
Wow.
funny thing is it's all shot in black and white, but the cinematography is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And there are a few bits in it that go to color, and it's very creative. They build in a lot of cultural aspects to it. So, for instance, they show some television from the 1960s and movies. And one of the ones I remember is they showed just a little clip from the kids went to see Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And so the whole movie's in black and white, but when it gets to the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, it's in color. And
which
it's
is
really
which is
cool.
really interesting because it just pops out and it makes you, realize what a dark time it was for them in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
In terms of what was going on. And yeah, it's very, very good. It's really about the relationships between families and friends and who took what side, regardless of what your religion was. And it's just a really well done film. Very good.
And we were in a town, what's the name of that? It's right on the border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland.
Oh yeah. I'll think of it. But anyway, tell the story.
And so we were there, and they were talking about, we were asking them about Northern Ireland and about the Troubles and all. And they said that, well, it's mostly settled down, but there are still hard feelings. And there was a boat that was leaving from this marina, and they went into Northern Ireland, which is fine. But they had the Irish Republic flag up because that's their country, that's where they're from. And some guys from Northern Ireland on a boat came over and said, take that flag down. And they said, no, that's our national flag. We're not taking it down. And the guys beat them up and burned their boat to the water.
Yeah.
And that was like within
last
year.
I think last year. It happened last
Yeah,
year.
so there still are hard feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the, I remember in the 70s and the 80s, the Troubles were very prevalent on the media.
Right.
Things like
Yeah.
Jerry Adams was going to the White House and all that.
Yep.
Then the Middle East kicked up in the middle of the 1990s, and suddenly the media was all interested in the Middle East and all the problems, and they ignored Ireland and the Troubles. And
Right.
sure enough, things began to improve. Because Jerry Adams was feted at the White House
Yes, yeah,
and
I
all that
remember.
ridiculous
Yeah.
stuff that just made it even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a New Englander, George Mitchell, was the guy that negotiated the peace treaty, and they all remember George Mitchell. When you mention George Mitchell, they're like, "Oh yeah, George Mitchell."
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's very interesting being here because both in Ireland and also in the Azores, you realize how much Massachusetts and just this America in general means to a lot of these people because a lot of them immigrated to,
Yeah, especially Boston.
especially
Everybody in Ireland has relatives in Boston. It's
and
crazy.
we would one night we actually walked into, that was in Ireland when we met this gentleman named Aidan. We met him in an Italian restaurant. We walked in, he heard our accent, and he said, "Where are you from?" And we said, "The States." And he said, "Of course, the States. Where are you from?" And we said, "Massachusetts." And he said, "I went there when I was 17 years old." He goes, "I was just a kid. I ended up in Boston and I was taken under the wing of the Boston police and they got us jobs." And he said, "And I ended up living in West Roxbury." And I was like, "I grew up in Jamaica Plain."
And we
So
both lived in West Roxbury.
yeah, so we got into this big discussion, and then we met another woman who lived in West Roxbury. So you realize it's like we're all very connected.
Yeah. Definitely.
So anyway, we're going to go to Belfast, and then we're going to go to the Isle of Man, and then we're going to go down the coast of Ireland again, and then cross to the southern coast of England to like all the cities that we know, Plymouth,
Southampton, all these kind of seafaring towns.
Yeah. And there's a place I want to go called the Isle of Scilly.
Oh,
You just got to go to Scilly.
Oh, yeah.
The Isle of Scilly.
Yeah, that's famous for, I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we're going to go to Brittany, France, and we have a family friend who has a place there. So we're going to stay with my sister's coming over. We're going to stay in Brittany for a week.
Nice.
And then Spain, and finally landing in Portugal, where we're going to leave the boat for the winter.
And we're going to come
We're
back to
coming to
Easton.
4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't wait. We're trying to find you a place to stay. You had any luck?
We think we may have found one.
We think we may have
I went
one.
on Facebook and said, we're looking for some place, and a number of people contacted me, and we have to go look at it, but somebody in
Chestnut Knoll.
Chestnut Knoll said, "Oh, my parents have a in-law apartment they're not using."
But that's good, dude.
So we're really excited about that because our daughter's Michelle is having a baby it's her third child beginning of January. So it's very good timing for us, and we're going to be back for like 4 months. So we're super excited. Yeah.
I'll say. Wow, we have to get the big party started, right, Priscilla?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do
Get it on
So
the
we'll
calendar.
the Film Connection in person.
We'll have to get together at Corfino's.
Yeah, absolutely, but not on Monday, right?
Right.
Because it's closed.
But then we can get you both here in the studio too, and we can talk in
Yeah,
person.
Yeah.
Although this Zoom thing is working out really well. It
Yeah,
just
I-
feels
It's amazing.
It
I know
is-
it's great.
Yeah,
it is amazing. It feels like you're right in the studio with us, and
Yeah.
you are.
First few times we did it, it wasn't nearly as well done as this technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question. When are you going to visit Scandinavia, which is my heritage?
That's something that we would really like to do, and friends of ours on their boats are going up. But we only have so much time, and the second season we're only planning on doing this for 2 seasons. Although maybe I can convince Carolyn on another one. But that aside, the second season we're going to do the Mediterranean,
Oh wow,
and that's my heritage.
that's a lot.
Right, but we have heard so much about Norway and Sweden, and we've met other cruisers that have been up there, and we know we would love it. It would be fabulous.
Yeah. Stockholm is a magnificent city. It's made up of 14 islands, and there are boats everywhere. And all the Swedes, all the Norwegians, they all have a boat. There's not one person
Yeah.
without a boat. And so my mother's family came from the west coast, from an island about an hour north of Gothenburg called Orust, O-R-U-S-T. And everybody has a boat. And even though there are these very thick navigational books, to tell the skipper where the rocks are, nobody uses them because they all know exactly where those rocks are. Generation to generation, they've been told, that you don't go close to the whatever here,
Right.
So I had a cousin who had a motorboat. He's long dead now, but he would take me out in the boat, and it was just wonderful. And he had that big book, but he says, I never use it. I don't need it,
Yeah.
And it was just wonderful. And the sun and the salt and the wonderful fresh air. It was just amazing. And we would go to outer islands because Sweden has so many islands beyond the islands, And,
But Norway would be pretty interesting.
sure,
up towards
Norway
the-
too,
Of
yeah.
course, go up towards the Arctic, up in there beyond Trondheim. I've been to Trondheim.
Well,
Yeah.
Bill, I don't know if I've told you this, but in 2018, I took my filmmaker son and my cousin Margareta, who's like my big sister. I invited them to go on the Hurtigruten boats that left from Bergen on the west coast all the way to Kirkenes, which is the last town in Norway before Russia. And that town has street signs in both languages. And it was wonderful to go through the fjords. And we were in Trondheim, and Eric actually brought us to this wonderful cathedral, which was built in the 1000s, shortly after Sweden became Christianized. And the master stone maker, what do you call them?
Cutter.
Stone cutter, stone mason, I don't know, master. His daughter, Eric had met in Norway when he was invited as producer of this horror movie to a festival called Skräcken, and that means shrieks, or what's the Swedish word? I don't know, horror, I guess. And he was invited. They were invited. He and another guy, I think he was a screenwriter. They were invited to speak at this horror festival, and people from all over Scandinavia were there. And Eric had so much fun, and he met this stone guy's daughter, who was instrumental. She was part of the festival organization. So, and what they discovered was that they both loved the Motley Crue band. So when Eric produced the Motley Crue movie, The Dirt, which is on Netflix, has been for the past 6 years, because they own it, he sent him tickets, because when the Motley Crue was in Stockholm, the father and his daughter had this wonderful experience with their favorite Motley Crue, concert. But then when we got to Trondheim, we met him, and we got taken up on an area that only he was allowed to go, on the ledges. No public was allowed, and there I am up there with the. It was just amazing, and all the gargoyles. All the gargoyles and everybody. Oh, I've got so many photos of different types of gargoyles. Who knew there were so many kinds? And anyway.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
It was, but the fjords were the most spectacular. I mean, you felt like an ant in the ocean with all of these very steep mountains and then these scattering little villages at the bottom and waterfalls everywhere and just.
This is Norway now, right?
This is Norway, yes. And so my son is, his father his background is half Norwegian and half Swedish. So he's got 25% Norwegian in him. And I had met all the cousins before on our honeymoon and when we lived in Munich and visited them. So I knew them all, hadn't seen them. So I introduced Eric to the his generation of cousins. And it was it was wonderful. He loved it. Love, love, love. And so he's a converted Swedophile, I must say. And now a Norwegian-phile, I guess. I don't know.
Well, those fjords, that one in Bergen, right? Where Bergen is located on the longest fjord and.
It's the West Coast.
West Coast,
yeah. And it's the starting point for trips north. And also south to Stavanger, and then you go around the, whatever that is, around the southern part, Kristiansand and others, So, yeah. But
well, if we decide to go up there, we're going to call you, Priscilla.
You what?
He's going to call.
We're going to call you.
Okay. Oh, I can give you lots
to translate, right?
Oh, no. They all speak English better than most Americans.
No, for tips on where to go.
Yeah.
But when I spoke Swedish in Norway and they spoke Norwegian, there was no problem understanding each other. Languages are very close. So anyway, but you will love it. It's a seafarer's delight up there. The waters might be a little colder. I know Carolyn would prefer that. I don't know about you, Gino.
No.
But the people are so friendly and warm and inviting. It's just welcoming. It's just wonderful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another trip, and then we can interview you when you take that one too.
Yeah.
So
I know so much to see, right?
The world,
so many beautiful places.
Yes.
Well, we've got 7 more minutes, Priscilla. Fortunately.
So your turn.
So catamaran. Tell us more about a catamaran. You say it's wider, right? So I mean, I get that,
right.
And it's got to be faster, right, than a monohull.
It is faster.
Considerably.
It was considered. It depends on the conditions. Sometimes fast monohulls can beat a catamaran, but for the most part, catamarans are faster.
Yeah.
And they're really the upcoming boat.
Now you had you had that made in Vietnam, right?
Yeah, this boat is the brand is called Seawind. It's designed in Australia, but they then moved their manufacturing to Vietnam for cost purposes, and they built this in Vietnam. Now they're expanding, and they have a new facility in Turkey as well.
Wow! So they shipped it on a freighter, or they didn't sail across the Pacific, I'm sure.
Oh, sometimes they do, but it was very interesting because they put it on a freighter, and they give you a link to the freighter, and you can see it. It came through the Suez Canal into the Mediterranean, out the Straits of Gibraltar, across the Atlantic to Norfolk, Virginia. And the amazing thing was that they told us, oh, it's going to arrive on September 15th or whatever. And it arrived on September 15th.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, 'cause- yeah, 'cause-
Yeah.
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 Didn't matter the weather or anything. It got there the exact day that they said it was going to get there. It was amazing.
So
But the best part was it got here and there wasn't really anything major wrong,
yeah,
which I know sounds crazy because it's a new boat, but these things travel for a while. They have to be put on the boat, taken off the boats, transported. We've
sure.
known people that there have been major issues
And
with the boat.
unlike cars, where they'll make 500,000 of the same model, boats they might make 10 a year of that model. And so they're basically handmade. And so there's a lot more room for error. And a lot of times the boats come and, this doesn't work and that doesn't work. You have to bring them back to the factory to get. But this boat really, we were lucky in it. We really didn't have any major issues with the boat when we got it.
So you
So-
register in the United States, right? I mean, it's the USS something something. What are the legal issues when you go to
Yeah.
a foreign country?
We are registered in the U.S., but now that Trump has slapped these huge tariffs on everybody, basically people are just registering them offshore.
Like Bermuda or Grand Cayman?
Yeah,
Something?
yeah, the Cayman Islands and other places, generally in the Caribbean. Yeah, we have friends that have done that. I mean, friends of ours got a boat from China, and the tariff was, 30%, which is, for a nice catamaran, is hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So when you go say you go to Scotland, you land in Scotland, you have to go to the customs office or something, or
Well, there's this thing called Schengen, which is a treaty amongst many of the European countries. And it basically allows Europeans, who are the countries that are members of this pact, to travel freely without passports throughout and work and live in these other countries without any sort of permits involved.
wow.
But for countries that are not part of the pact, you're only allowed to stay for 90 days.
Yeah,
Then you have to leave for 90 days, and then you can come back for 90 days. So when we got to the Azores, and Azores is part of the Schengen region, we got there and we registered, and they said, okay, they took down our name and everything. And then when we left Azores, we said, okay, we're leaving. And so when you're out of the Azores, then and you're in the open ocean, those days don't count towards your 90 days. And then when we got to Ireland, we went into Ireland and we contacted the harbor master and said, we're here to check in. And he said, we don't care.
And we were like, well, we don't have any stamp in our passport. I mean, in the Azores, every island required you to check in and check out. And then you had to do the same thing at every single island in the Azores. So we have a lot of stamps from the Azores.
Customs doesn't care. And then we get to Scotland and the guy goes, oh, they don't care.
And so I keep on saying to someone, well, what's going to happen when we get somewhere where they do care and they see that the last stamp that we have is from the Azores, and it's like, well, where have you been? Like floating around in the ocean?
yeah. So that's a bit of a worry.
So who made
So we don't know what's gonna-
did you say Sea Wing? Is that the name of the manufacturer?
Sea
Wind.
wind.
Wing like
No, wind, like in
wind.
like the breeze. Yeah.
Sea Wind. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can go online and look at them. They're nice. We really like it. We
Yeah.
looked at a lot of different brands, but this was the one that we liked the most.
So
Yeah, and our visitors really like it too. They're like, everybody has space and privacy, and if you're someone that's not a big sailor or has spent a lot of time on a boat, it's very easy to stay on this boat.
well, thank you so much for this wonderful interview and
Oh, it was great. It was great to see you both.
oh
Yeah.
yes.
And
So-
you're looking marvelous.
Both of you.
Marvelous.
Thank you.
You too. But
Yes, you too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Seafaring really makes you young and vital, and you certainly are very vibrant and young.
I don't know.
Well,
Bill
thank,
has more hair than I do.
well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So
All right. Okay.
Until
we'll
next
see
time.
you soon. All
Okay.
right.
See you in
Bye-bye.
Easton.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So this is another episode of the Film Connection.
Yes,
We've been talking to Gino and Carolyn,
we have.
living
Yeah.
the good life on their yacht. and
Yes, and
catamaran.
Yeah, and what a wonderful the experiences they've had, and shows us that people around the world are kind and generous and welcoming.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for watching, and stay well, and we'll see you on the next Film Connection.